How's it going, guys? It's Kass. As always, if you've been enjoying my content, then hit that subscribe button. So today's video, I'm going to give you everything you'll need for patch 9.2 for Demon Hunter in PVE. So disclaimer here before we get too far in the video, anytime that I release a specific build, it is something that I've tested to make sure that it is good and able to be competitive. That does not mean that this is the best 100 percentile parsing build, and unfortunately we won't really know that build until we get access to sims, but this is something that rest assured you can start playing with and be perfectly fine and more than competitive as a Demon Hunter in patch 9.2. In patch 9.2 we gain access to a new legendary called Quench of Unity. This gives you access to your Covenant specific legendary while you are able to still wear any legendary of your choice. For Demon Hunter, the best Covenant specific legendary is Agony Gaze, which is most of the reason why we'll be switching to Venthyr in patch 9.2. Agony Gaze is very strong. It makes it so your Sinful Brand does 10% increased damage, and it makes it so whenever I-Beam does damage, it increases the duration of Sinful Brand by 0.75 seconds. It has a lot of synergies with the class overall. The first legendary we're going to talk about is Dark Glare Medallion. Dark Glare Medallion makes I-Beam have a 40% chance to not incur its cooldown, and it will refund 30 Fury. This legendary is good because it increases the duration of Sinful Brand, as well as giving you increased uptime of Demonic. Another legendary you could choose instead of Dark Glare Medallion is Collective Anguish. While Collective Anguish may be slightly less DPS overall, it does make it so there is a lot less randomness with the class, and makes it a lot more smooth to play overall. What Collective Anguish does is it makes it so whenever you cast I-Beam, you also cast Fell Devastation, and both I-Beam and Fell Devastation increases the duration of Sinful Brand. It makes it so you really never will have a situation where Sinful Brand falls off, and it makes it so in AoE situations, when you apply Sinful Brand with Metamorphosis, you'll have 100% uptime on all of those targets as well. The talents that we're going to be running here are basically focused on getting as many I-Beams as possible. The first talent we're going to take is Blinding Fury. This increases the duration of I-Beam by 50 seconds, which will then lead to more ticks of I-Beam, which leads to increased duration of Sinful Brand because of Agony Gaze. The next talent row is Insatiable Hunger. This means that we have to press less Demon's Bites in order to cap our Fury, so it is very strong as well. The 30 row is basically between Glaive Tempest and Unbound Chaos. However, since Unbound Chaos does not cost any Fury, it will not interact with your set pieces in a negative way, which makes this a better option here. Then we have Soul Rending. Soul Rending is what I would personally choose in this row because it makes you a little bit more tanky. However, there are some boss mechanics where you may want to take Nether Walk instead to get the immunity for it. The next row is the 40 row, and realistically it's only Cycle of Hatred here. Cycle of Hatred makes it so when Chaos Strike refunds Fury, which happens around 40% of the time, it also reduces the cooldown of I-Beam by 3 seconds. Basically, if you get 2 of these refunds, it'll make I-Beam's cooldown long enough to ensure that you have 100% uptime of Soul Brand, or of Sinful Brand, excuse me. Next is the 45 row. This is basically choose whichever one you like. I like Unleash Power just because it gives you access to a free stun, and you don't have to worry about having it obviously costing you Fury like Fell Eruption. However, realistically, any of these choices are fine. Then lastly, we have Demonic. Demonic makes you turn into a demon for 6 seconds after finishing I-Beam. This gives you access to extra haste and extra stats, and overall increases the amount of ticks that Sinful Brand gets, which is very, very good for this build. For a Soulbind, the only real option is Nausea, and what it will allow you to gain access to is Thrill Seeker, which is a stacking buff that at 40 stacks gives you haste for 10 seconds. Then it'll also give you access to Dauntless Duelist, which makes it so the first enemy that you do damage to takes 3% more damage. Then lastly, you gain access to Fatal Flaw, which makes it so the haste effects of Euphoria, when it ends, for 10 seconds, you gain either 20% crit or 20% verse, depending on whichever is higher. With this specific build, I think crit's probably better just because of the ticking dots that you have. However, I think verse is also fine. So either one of those, just depending on whichever, is a positive benefit no matter what. For your potency conduits, which are really the only thing that matter here, I would suggest going with Growing Inferno and Relentless Onslaught. The main reason why we aren't taking this potency conduit here is there really isn't anything that synergizes well with the Soulbind in its current iteration, just because we have 100% uptime of Sinful Brand with our legendaries, and nothing else really helps us. If there was a world where we wanted to use this potency conduit, I think the best thing that you could do is adaptive armor here. However, it just makes more sense to go this route and skip the potency conduit. Overall, I think Demon Hunter is looking very good coming into patch 9.2. I think everything synergizes really well, especially with Demon Hunter and the legendary options that we have. And honestly, it's some of the most fun I've had with the class so far. I think the set pieces are pretty okay. If you want to see a video of me talking about that, link is in the description below. But overall, I think Demon Hunter is in a good spot. As always, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, F5, refresh, try it again. Maybe you like it the second time. Have a good one.